Looking to enhance your wrench organization in your toolbox? Well, today I'm taking a look at this Ernst Wrench Pro wrench organization system, and we're gonna see how this thing stacks up. Welcome everyone to the Derbzilla channel, and today another video on enhancing the organization of my toolboxes. I have two of these Harbor Freight US General Series 2, I believe, toolboxes, and so far they've been great, but you know, I'm just trying to help improve the organization. If you saw my previous video, probably check that out up here. I actually increased the organization of my socket sets with these Work Pro socket holders, and these things are freaking awesome. Now I got my sockets mostly taken care of. Impacts kind of ignore that. They're not the really organized very well quite yet. But I've also been wanting to clean up the look of my wrenches. You know, it's not horrible. These are actually Ernst wrench organizer. I believe they hold 15 wrenches each. And you know, it's not too bad. I got two drawers of these wrenches. And of course, I don't have anything super fancy. These aren't like Snap-ons or you know, any super high-end looking items. I got some Huskies and some Pittsburgh, whatever. You know, perfect for a hobbyist. I'm not, you know, making my money and my living off of my tools, just things I do around the house and on my cars. But, you know, I wanted to kind of consolidate my two wrench drawers, hopefully into one, with it looking a little bit more organized. And so I found these right here. This is also from Ernst, and these are the Wrench Pros, and they're modular. And when I say modular, you can actually, almost like Legos, clip them apart, break them into different pieces. And as you can see here, it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but they break down into sets of 3 or 1. And when you put them all together, you can actually create a row of as many as you want or as few as you want, and you can kind of pattern them any way you want. Now, when I have this, you know, this is kind of what you get if you order some Husky wrenches or some, you know, basic tools. And you might get these all with this little Ernst little V-shaped organizer, which is, you know, not bad, but it takes up a lot more space because your wrenches sit here at an angle versus here they sit at a much steeper angle, and you can actually line up a whole bunch. Probably, we'll see how many more, but I mean, it looks like I can get a lot more wrenches lined up in less space. I can actually, because of this much smaller shape, I can organize them better in my toolbox. And on top of that, they are magnetic. Now, when I say magnetic, they actually will magnetically stick to, you know, the toolbox drawer, but they're not actually magnetically holding the wrenches in place. Now, these are, I know there's some other variations of these where they're more expensive, where they actually have flags in here. You can see if you're missing a wrench, but I assume if you don't see a wrench in the slot, that should tell you you're missing whatever wrench goes in that slot. Now, cool thing I did notice about these, when you order them, you also get some labels, and they're pretty much just stickers, and then you can actually label them in any order you want, any combination you want. They do put metric and standard, and they can fit pretty much any size wrench that you could imagine. Of course, the humongous 50 millimeter wrench might not fit in here, or might sit really high, but you know, for most cases, it should work out pretty good. Now, for these, I did pick up 2 40 packs, so you can actually get a pack of 40. I put down the price. I think it's $30 or close to a little bit below $30. Maybe have a coupon, but so you get 40 of these bad boys for a relatively inexpensive price. Here's where the labels will go, and you get a couple different colors. I went with blue for you know, my metric, red for standard, and then this is pretty much what they come in. They come as a little box. I got two sets of labels, and I'm going to go ahead and actually I'll fill up this right here, and we'll see, you know, what 15 wrenches would look like compared to what 15 wrenches on the Wrench Pros here will look like in dimensions. And then we'll actually get this installed, transfer my tools over into these new holders here, and we'll see how it looks in the toolbox. And hey, can I get both drawers into one drawer and still look good, easily accessible? That's my goal here. Just trying to get everything cleaned up, and then we will, you know, take a look at how everything looks, and you know, my thoughts on, you know, does this actually live up to the cost? Is it a little bit more expensive than if you get this? Now, of course, this was free with my wrenches, but you know, you get what you pay for, and we'll see how it looks. Just for demonstration purposes, I have the original, you know, came with the wrenches set up here, and I have 15 wrenches. These are happen to be metric, but this is just kind of to show you, how much area each setup will take up. And then here is the Ernst Wrench Pro, 18 wrenches on here. They take up about the same, space this way. So you can actually fit 3 more wrenches, pretty much the same space. Now, it's not really when I say space saver, that's of course one benefit, but that's not the only benefit. You can actually, because it is modular, then you can actually have another set here. You can run up, if you have smaller ones, you can kind of stack them this way. And then you can have another staggered set here. You can stack them this way. You can stack some here. Then you could add some here, here. With these, of course, pretty much you're limited on, how you can arrange this. It's that. Now, there's not much you can do with it. I mean, you cut it in half, and that's pretty much your only option. Now, there is an advantage of these. Of course, you can mount these on a wall, and they'll hold into place. These, not so much. Pretty sure they would just fall out because, they're just sitting in here like this. So, if you're trying to mount it, it's gonna just, your wrench is gonna flop out. So these are specifically for in a toolbox or on a shelf, flat surface. Primarily you're gonna want it on a metal shelf versus like a, wooden work table, because they do have these magnets. And as mentioned, they are modular and they're super easy, almost like Legos. They actually just, have this little groove slot here, and then that actually will just snap into the inside how these are cut. There's a little slice in here where that little slot will fit, and then they just snap in, and it actually snaps in pretty well. So you can actually pick them up, flop them around. They don't just disassemble, but they're not in there like locked in like super hard mechanical lock where you have to squeeze a tab or anything like that. They just kind of set in and snap into place, which is fine for when you have it mounted on your metal shelf. They're on there. The magnet is relatively strong. Once you have your wrenches stacked on here, it's not going to be moving around. You could open and close your shelf, pretty hard, and this thing is not going to be flying around inside your shelf. Now, these, economy little wrench holder. This, after I open and close the shelf a number of times, it slides around. It's kind of not too bad, but it's as like scuffed up the base a little bit, because it does slide around, and occasionally I then have to pull them down, rearrange them, and yeah. So as mentioned, I want to consolidate these 4 sets of these actually holders into 2 rows of the Wrench Pros, and I have a bunch of random wrenches I've purchased as needed, and of course the stubbies. I mean, I could even get the little stubbies if I wanted to hold stubbies in here. Fits fine. They're not going to fit in this. So this is a lot more versatile if you want to put like stubby wrenches, you want to put flat wrenches, the super flat wrenches. If you want to go with any of the other wrenches that typically wouldn't fit. I'm not sure if this will fit, but I mean this will fit in the Wrench Pro, even though it is freaking huge. But I mean, we'll see. Here we go. I mean, it's, as you can see, it fits, but it's definitely crushing the tabs out. So I'm not sure if this will warp it, over time, and it might not be able to put any other wrenches in there. So yeah, you don't want to stretch it out. Could be a problem. So I'm actually going to then get these moved over, trying to organize it, see what I come up with. We'll come back, take a look at what I end up with, to show you how I kind of arrange this and say, hey, am I able to get all my wrenches in one shelf, and I can open up another shelf for something else, which, I mean, is ridiculous. I'm already running out of space with 2 72-inch toolboxes, but as it comes around, you always think you have enough space, you never do. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can get organized, and hopefully it looks pretty good. I think it will, and we'll go from there. All 4 of my old wrench holders have been depleted, so I was able to get all these wrenches onto the Wrench Pros. And thing I wanted to note, we have these stickers. You get one of these per 40 set. I'm not sure how many you get if you get the, I believe they have a 20 wrench organization set. a 40. And so this is what you get with the 40. You might get the same, or you might only get like a half sheet if you get the 20, is probably what happens. But they do give you from 6 to 42 millimeter for metric, and a quarter to 1 3/4. And really, for some of these really big ones, it's probably going to be, the wrench will be so large that you won't even be able to see the labels on there. So not a huge deal. And I did notice as I was using up all these stickers, there was one label that I was missing from the standard set. So we'll take a look at that. And here she is. Look at that. Thing is packed. Not much empty space, a little bit over here, but I was not able to get my regular stubbies in here, and also my 2 real large wrenches. I put them on a different shelf. But this is all of my standard style wrenches, you know, standard and metric of the normal kind of wrenches like these. These, I actually offset them and flipped them. So I went from high to low for metric, low to high for my standard. And the modularity is real nice. I was able to actually just run a certain length, and I could break them up into different sections based on what I want to hold. So I got my normal type of wrenches. Also have my ratcheting wrenches, which are these ones right here. And then I have my flex head wrenches like these. And then I have my flex, or my ratcheting stubbies, which are, I just kind of sprinkled them in here in a couple spots. And then I actually went from metric, I went from 27 millimeter down to 8. And then I actually noticed I'm missing a few of these wrenches that I guess I've never needed, or I've lost them. So I have a couple gaps in here, but I wanted to leave space for when I replace those wrenches or find them. And then I actually have a 7 millimeter and a 6 millimeter, which I ran out of space on here. So I just have them sitting here. But it holds even the really small ones up to 27 millimeter pretty well. I have the labels, as you can see here. Now, labels are just the stickers. Not sure how they'll hold up. I think they'll be fine. But I did notice I am lacking a 1932 label, so that's why that one's gapped. It would be nice if they had a couple blanks I can just, you know, write in, just even if they're just white. I mean, of course I can make my own labels, but that'd be kind of cool if they just had some blank labels of the same size. I can just write in any odd value that maybe, you know, some people don't think about, and just stick it on there. I've only labeled the main wrenches so far. I'll come back and label these maybe, but these might be more flexible. I might have different setups depending on what new tools I pick up. So I might leave them blank, might label them. There's plenty of labels to label all these, so I should be good. But so this is, I would say, 1 3/4 drawers into 1 drawer. So before, this would take up 1 3/4 drawers. I'm on 1 drawer now, and it looks awesome. I wish they would offer maybe an enhanced version of this, where they would actually have maybe a small magnet strip at the bottom to help grab these, because once you have these tacked into your drawer, and you realize, oh, I need a little bit more space, I need to slide these over. It's super hard to slide these over once they're down with wrenches on them, because you'll pull your little wrench liner, you'll kind of squish it up. If you don't have a wrench liner, that's not a problem. But if you do, you're gonna squish it up, and you have to then try to pop them off the thing. They're real hard. Wrenches will start popping out and falling everywhere. So once you have it down, your wrench is in place, you can't really move it around very well with a drawer liner. So, not a huge deal. Now, I believe I showed earlier, I've pretty much just narrowed it down here. I'm gonna find a different way to organize the stubbies. Now, the stubbies do fit decently on these, but as you see, they're just some of these really short, especially the ratcheting ones, don't quite fit on there perfectly, and you kind of have them just sit, off center, like I do with this one. I mean, I could squish it down maybe, but not a big deal. Just holding it in place so they don't flop around. Before, these would just slide everywhere, which I'm sure this drawer, after I open and close it a few times, I'm sure these will move around. So this is kind of just temporary how I have this lined up. I'm sure I'll reorganize this differently. Maybe I'll get another small set of these, or maybe another option that's better for stubbies, and I can rearrange this. But I don't really use them. I've used the big ones a few times. I don't really use these. So, I mean, typically I'll be using the ratcheting ones or just the normal wrench. I don't really find a huge use for just random normal stubbies. I don't do enough work for that. So my bench toolbox is organization is coming along. Wrenches mostly knocked out, sockets 3/4 knocked out. If you saw my previous video, I think I linked it up here for the Work Pro socket holders. Those things are awesome. I don't have anything for impact. I don't really have a ton of impacts yet, so I'm gonna either get more of these or another option for impacts. but I did pick up these, which are also, what are these? This is Mayuko's. I'll have links for these as well. This is your extension bar organizer, which I thought was pretty cool. And I picked up this little bit organizer, also holds your different U-joints and whatnot. I haven't really fully filled this one out. Also from Mayuto. Kind of cool if you want to organize these things. I had them just tacked to here. This is where my odds and end goes typically, or weird other sets. So this is kind of flexible for whatever I need, but this gives me a little bit more, nicer setup for. But the extension bar thing is awesome. Now I notice I need probably a 1/4 inch, 4-inch extension, and a 1/4 inch, 2-inch. I'll probably pick those up sometime, and maybe another 1/2 inch, 3-inch. That's not an impact. But yeah, this real quick preview of how this works out. Okay, some final thoughts and information on these Ernst Wrench Pro wrench organizers. Now, I do want to point out there are a couple variations that I saw in kits you can buy. I bought the 40-pack kits with the magnets. They also offer, I believe, a 20-pack kit, and also they offer these with no magnets, which are about $10 cheaper. The ones with the magnets that I have here come in 5 different colors. It's the typical red, blue, I believe they have a black. There is like a neon green and some other color. I wanted to kind of just keep with the more traditional colors to match my socket holders. And now these, I believe, run without a coupon or discount. I think it's like $39.99, almost 40 bucks per set of 40, so almost $1 each. The smaller sets, of course, are cheaper, and you can save $10 if you get the non-magnetic sets. I do like the magnetic set if you want it to be, held down and not sliding around potentially in your drawer. Now, what I would like to see would be like a Super Pro kit. These are the pros. A Super Pro where they actually have a magnet slotted into each slot, just even a small magnet, so you can get a little extra grip. You drop your wrench in there and it'll kind of grip it, kind of like with my Work Pro sockets here. These are magnetically held in place, which just gives it a little extra gripping power, which is nice, and you kind of don't have to worry about them popping loose if you try to slide these over in your drawer or anything like that. Or when you try to, just rearrange things, having that little magnetic strength to hold the wrenches in place would be something I would love to see with like a, a 2.0, maybe even a, slightly more expensive variation or whatever. That's pretty cool. Labels are nice. I'm not sure how these will hold up in the Texas heat. As long as I'm not rubbing on them, they should be fine. They're just plain labels. Worst case, you can just, get a label printer and print out some more labels. They do give you a ton of extras, so that shouldn't be an issue, even if you destroy a couple of these, marred up with a wrench or whatever. Not a big deal. Kind of a nitpicking. Price is kind of expensive for what you get. I would like to see the price a little bit lower, but it's not astronomical or anything like that. Now, they are, about almost $40 per set. So, is it worth it for you to organize your toolbox, free up some more space? Potentially, if that's the difference of you having to buy another toolbox or an add-on to your toolbox, or you can organize it like this and save yourself potentially hundreds to thousands of dollars for more tool storage. Not too bad. So overall, do I think these are worth it? For me, I think they're worth it. Probably for most people, if you're just trying to really clean up that wrench organization, you don't really, not a fan of what came with it, like the ones I got, those really cheap V things. I think it's a pretty good deal for what you get. Now, it's only for your toolbox. You can't use these and hang them up on the wall. You can't mount them to the side of a toolbox. So if that's a deal breaker for you, these aren't going to be what you need. Now, feel free to check out the description. I'll have links to everything mentioned, including my Work Pro sockets. Check out that video if you want to see about the socket organization. I might have a few more videos on kind of organizing toolboxes, garage and stuff. I have a ton of actually garage mods, all that fun stuff in my channel. Check those out. Feel free to subscribe if you do like the video. Feel free to hit the little bell if you want to be notified on any future videos. I have more coming, hopefully very soon. I got some videos coming up back here, if you can see it, on my ZL1, doing suspension upgrades. Check out that video or videos when they come out. Hopefully you guys will subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Peace.